India Charts publishes Nifty Daily, daily video updates, the weekly Elliott Wave Outlook, and the Long Shot Report covering all asset classes.
When I thought that this was a completed structure, even more because the last stage of this eventually ended up forming an ending diagonal. I think a lot of people found that hard to digest, especially that it was pointing towards much deeper targets. But when we look at the very short term, and this is where the entire debate is, if this is an ending pattern, it should have broken on the downside and it should have been the end of the world. That's definitely not the case, and I have been continuously fighting back on this. We're going to get into a much more detailed discussion and reasoning as to what is going on and why it happened in this particular way from various angles. I'll discuss one of the angles here, but we're going to get into that detailed discussion. We are doing our second long shot webinar this Sunday, so 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. should be this timing, and we'll send out the participation links to everyone who's signed up for India Charts Insiders. So you can simply go to indiacharts.com, sign up for our India Charts Insiders. Even if you just subscribe for a month. I mean, I have a single club membership. I have not created multiple layers and created a whole lot of confusion. We've kept it very simple forever. And so once you're in there, then you will get the links on Sunday morning, and you can come in. We can have a detailed discussion and look at various charts on what is going on, because I just wrote a very detailed 25 chart long short report last week. So we'll go into that and look at the entire narrative. But anybody who's marking this entire structure as a wedge, who's saying this is a wedge A, B, C, D, E, means what he's essentially saying is that this is a 3-3-3-3-3 wave structure. So what we are really doing then is we are marking this as an A, B, C, D, E, and then saying that this entire pattern is a series of 3 waves, because that's what a ending diagonal really looks like. Now, for some time I myself have tried to mark this initial wave as keeping the alternates open, whether you are forming an A or a B or a C, and whether it can still be corrective. But the whole answer gets given away when you look at this part of the structure. This entire move from the bottom in May to the top in June, okay, this mini rally in there is essentially a very clear 5-wave pattern as far as I can see. So unless you can find yourself to debate otherwise, this is the primary reason why this is not an ending pattern, because an ending should be 3-3-3. There shouldn't be a 5 inside it. And moment you have a 5, you can say ABC, you can say ABC X ABC, but you cannot say ABC. So you cannot say ABCDE for sure, because that would mean C is a corrective structure. Now, if you do ABCX, then you're saying it's a double zigzag, triple zigzag, or some more complex pattern, which might still be acceptable if you want to stick to the bear side of this thesis. But once you move towards that this 5x and you're going on, that means you can add another ABC to the upside. So this is as far as if you want to mark it on a bearish basis. You can also mark it in different ways. And so the point being that unless you've completed, now if you didn't complete it at C, and this decline here is 3 waves, which means it's a corrective decline and not an impulsive one, which means that the trend is not down, same as what happened here. Then what you're looking at is the uptrend continuing. You add another 4 waves up, which is what X, A, B, C is. Until you don't really complete that, your trend is not really done. So this is the simplest way of looking at it. Even if you're bearish at some point of time during this process, it should have gotten ruled out. In fact, when you surpass the high of C, then itself it's going to extend from 3 waves to 7 waves, tells you that you're going to get an extension. So I think that's what you would have missed out in terms of analytical thought process. So one of the simplest things that you can do anytime there's a trend is use a trend line. Now in some charts like US and so on, you have seen these trend lines break, but broadly they've continued to make higher tops and bottoms. So these are there are a couple of things which you pick up in when you're studying technical analysis, and especially in the classical tools. The simplest is if you look at this swing high, we moved up to a higher swing high, and then we moved up to a higher swing high. That itself is a trend. And the same can be seen even in the short term from here to here to here, and we can look at whenever you get the next correction, are you continuing to make a higher bottom or not? And the second is of course the trend line, one of the most basic tools of a technician, and if this trend line is not broken till then, we haven't had the breakdown as yet. Now what we are doing today is we are almost closing, and probably will, I'm recording this into the last half hour, but we are looking at closing beyond the 61% retracement of this entire fall, which is at around 10,550. Ideally, it's a bigger close than just 10-20 points because it's trading at 10,560 right now. If you have a very small close, you can almost say, well, it's still within 61% because these are not sacrosanct exact levels. But yes, if you close above it, it's the first sign that you're breaking past this point. Sometimes I even have seen stretches up to 66%, so I don't mind putting in a 66% in there also, in which itself takes you to 10,737. So there's always room for this to stretch. And the significance of this is that most markets, as far as fall from the Jan-Feb highs is concerned, most markets, Asian or European, have all retraced more than 60%, almost 80% of that decline. So I think in that sense, India is actually lagging behind. And one of the reasons why I think that catch-up could also happen is the very, very big move that you have seen in the currency market. This is a chart of the USD INR, and for quite a while it was attempting to hold up for this entire move. But what we are seeing here, if we just take a trend line of all these lows, we are actually closing below it. It's almost a 75 paisa gain for a single day. That's a pretty large move. We haven't seen this kind of a move, I think, in the last couple of months, and so it's pretty significant. It also breaks down this entire range. So this trading range that was there, it actually breaks down. And if you look at this pullback, it was actually a 61 just over. So like I said, sometimes you go above 61 in those scenarios, then you look at whether it ends up holding 66%. So in actual, on a closing basis, well, it didn't go above 66% or 61%, but intraday we've seen spikes to a higher level. Now sometimes in currency markets there are multiple retracements. You can always go to the next one and you'll find one that has really worked out, but broadly saying, we didn't do more than a retracement as far as this is concerned. We made a lower high and now we're making a lower low. So when we continue to look at that progression and go to the weekly chart, we'll be watching tomorrow's Friday, of course, the weekend, will we end up closing below the 20 week average, which is this thin pink line over here. The level is 75.138, and if we close below that, then we've actually broken that trend as well, and probably could drop till even 74. So that's what I would try to anticipate, is that we're probably going to move lower as far as the currency pair is concerned, and that's a bullish indicator generally for equity prices. And the biggest laggard, of course, has been Bank Nifty. Yesterday it was showing signs of playing big catch up as the best performer of the day, but today it's again lagging, because while Nifty has gone past the previous June high, Bank Nifty itself has not. So the June high was at around 22,480, and we are currently trading a little below that at 21,976. So we should have surpassed that along with Nifty, but I guess we eventually will, looking at all the other moves in various markets. And in terms of retracement also, you're still inside 38%. So while Nifty has gone past 61%, Bank Nifty is still at 38%. So there's a lot of room for catch up to happen. Similarly, on its weekly indicators also, it has not really, it's given a buy crossover, or if you use any momentum indicator, and the crossover is basically any indicator crossing its own average is what we consider as a buy crossover. And while that has happened, so there's room for that buy signal to fully play out, maybe take a couple of weeks, in which it would at least test, I would say, the 40-week average. If not go to 61%, then the next level would be around 24,364, which would be a 50% retracement of the entire decline from January. So I think that's the next level to really move to once you get past this high. Now, of course, even on the weekly charts, Nifty is above the 20-week average. Bank Nifty will attempt to close above that this week, and that average itself is at 21,684. So a lot of levels to watch for tomorrow's close. But at least in the currency, we've gone past that. In Nifty, we are attempting to close above 10,550. So all of those are indicative that you get the catch up in banking stocks as well. There's a lot more to really go into in terms of the long-term structure, what it is pointing at, what has really happened over the last 6 months, and the positioning of various participants. So both the short-term, medium-term, long-term, the entire picture, the big trades that are likely to develop out of this, that are slowly building up, and we'll definitely get more information as we go into the weekend closing, and we'll discuss all of these things in the weekend webinar. So I look forward to seeing all of you there on Sunday 9 a.m. and discuss the truth about these markets. Thank you.